এই মুহূর্তে আমরা নয়াদিল্লিতে ভারত মণ্ডপমে নজর রাখবো। সেখানে রয়েছে এই মুহূর্তে সেখানে চলছে রিপাবলিক প্লেনারি সামিট 2025। সঙ্গে রয়েছেন সিনিয়র এডিটর ময়ূক রঞ্জন ঘোষ। ময়ূক, এই মুহূর্তের কি ছবি আমরা জানবো? এই মুহূর্তে মঞ্চে রয়েছেন অনিল কুম্বলে।
To go home, have a surgery and play. I mean this is a limitless India moment for us in 90s. We have seen this limitless India moment. Just tell us what inspired this moment. How did you create this moment?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure to be here at the Republic plenary session. I never thought of this as any brave move on my part. Yes, like you mentioned, I had to come back home to Bengaluru for a surgery. So my wife, who's sitting here, she had organized everything back home. So I was to come back and get my jaw fixed. But then I realized when I went back to the changing room that afternoon, when I knew that it was broken and then I was coming back home. When I went back to the changing room, we had, by the way, more than 500 runs on the board, and I was the only leg spinner. I was the only spinner in that playing 11. Of course, we had Sachin Tendulkar, who could bowl anything, and he was bowling leg breaks. And I saw sitting in the changing room just before tea, and I felt that I should go there and possibly pick up a couple of wickets to put the team in a good position. We were 1-1 leading into that test match, and there was another test match after that. So I felt that if we can win that test match, of course I wouldn't have participated the following day. It was just that one session that I could go and possibly make an impact, pick up a few wickets, put the team in a good position, and that was the only thought. I've always gone onto the field when my shoulder was fine, so the shoulder was absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with it, and it was just the jaw that was broken more than anyone else.
Just the jaw.
Yeah, it was. So I knew that, you know, no matter what happened on the cricket field, the surgeon will be able to take care of that. So that was the only thought process. Never ever felt that when I walked into play, what if something again hits me on the jaw or I get injured? Those thoughts, I don't think I ever even thought about any of those.
Anil, together we can. That's the mantra of a limitless India right now. How do you perceive this idea of limitless India? As Indians, we can do anything and everything in terms of sports, in terms of cinema, in terms of literature, education. How do you perceive that?
I think, you know, we've seen that you know, in 75 years of our independence. I think we have done wonderful things, and just to reflect on sports itself, you know, just to reflect on my own sport, which is cricket, we have come a long way. You know, today we are consistently in finals. Yes, we have won a couple of tournaments, won World Cup recently in the T20. The last ODI World Cup, we were runners-up, and we're going to play again on Sunday. So in that sense, you know, we've been sort of not just competing, but there. You know, 1983 was a breakthrough moment for Indian cricket when India won the World Cup. But since then, I think we have moved really high up in the ranks as far as cricket is concerned. And in terms of infrastructure for cricket itself, if you take the sport, you know, today you have international stadiums across India. It is not just restricted to the bigger cities, which it used to be probably about 20, 30 years ago. So now it's a lot more. There is a lot more players playing the sport with the IPL. There's a lot of players getting opportunities to play on a big stage. And not just the men's cricket. Women's cricket has evolved too, because when you talk about limitless India, it's not just about one section of the society. It's not just men, it's also women. How do you sort of become inclusive? How do you ensure that they come along and then do what and make you proud? And women's cricket has certainly made India proud. Today, the Women's Premier League is happening, and that's something that's giving a lot of girls an opportunity to showcase their talent. And it also means that a lot of young girls are taking up the sport, and that's the beauty about cricket. Today, it's dominating in cricket, and you know, other teams would want to beat India. It was not the other way around. It was always the other way around. When we sort of you know, played, it was beating Australia was a big thing. Beating West Indies just prior to that was a big thing. And today beating India is a big thing for the rest of the cricketing world. So that's the beauty about limitless India. And when you talk about sport itself and how we have grown in sport, I strongly believe that when you want to become a sporting nation, when you want to create sport as a part of your livelihood, as a part of your lifestyle, it's important to create icons in sport. And today we have icons in athletics, in Neeraj Chopra, we have Manu Bakar in shooting, and they also had someone to look up to in Rajavardhan Rathore, then Abhinav Bindra, and Gagan Narang in shooting. So you had someone to look up to. Badminton has had superstars. I mean, with Prakash Padukone being the first one to win the All England Championship. After that, you had Gopi Chand. And then in women's badminton, you had Saina Nehwal, then now PV Sindhu. In tennis, Sania. So you have all these icons who then represent and give you that feel that when you're growing up or taking up the sport, you have someone to look up to, saying, you know what, if they can make it, even I can make it. I think that's the beauty about sport, and that's the beauty about the new India, because you have icons in every walk of life, not just in India. When you go outside of India, when you travel abroad and meet high-profile CEOs, and most of them are Indians.
নানা ধরনের কন্টেন্ট দেখার জন্য লাইক করুন, শেয়ার করুন আমাদের ফেসবুক পেজ, সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন আমাদের ইউটিউব চ্যানেল। পাশাপাশি অন্যান্য ব্রেকিং নিউজের জন্য অবশ্যই চোখ রাখুন রিপাবলিক বাংলায়।